Welcome to another episode of Meaningless. I am Analia, and today I want to share with you another chat that I got to have with a magical human. This is Jen. She is the co-owner of Oracle of Crystals. She is a Capricorn Sun, Sagittarius Moon, Libra Rising, which gives her the combination that is very grounded in stability, that has an emotional depth and a harmonious idea of what connection looks like. She has come into this world with a karmic knowledge in her soul that she knows who she is, that a strong sense of that. But her journey has been the challenge of being able to express that authenticity completely. Her magic is deeply rooted in a Scorpio stellium, and this allows her to transmute darkness into light, trauma into empowerment, not just for herself, but for everybody that she is put here to help. Her spirituality manifests physically in her body, and she was put on this physical plane to bring that gift to the collective through her career, using her gift of healing. Jen's journey through her life has taught her to prove her worth, which has been a transforming effect for her wounds of identity and has set her up for a very powerful career in what she is doing, which involves the nurturing and emotional understanding of the collective. So let's get to know Jen a little bit more. I hope you enjoy our chat. I sure did. Today, Jen, who is a Capricorn, who is an energy healer, and we are going to find out all of her secrets. Jen.
Hello.
Can you tell us about what your superpower is?
Okay. I believe my superpower is my healing hands.
Mm-hmm.
So from a young child, I wanted to be a nurse, as well as wanting to be Wonder Woman. I had my own like little nurse's kit, and I was always, fixing people or animals in my own way. And then as I grew older, I realised that I didn't actually want to be a nurse as such, because I didn't like blood and gore and things like that. But on my own journey, I discovered like alternative healing and realised that that was what I was going to do.
When did you first make that distinction that it wasn't nursing, that it was something more magical?
I reckon it was probably towards the end of my schooling, like high school years, when you're trying to decide what am I going to do. I think it was more around then, although my Reiki and my healing work didn't start then, but I think I kind of went into the mainstream just working, different jobs and stuff. But I think I knew from about 17, 18 that that's what I wanted to do.
Did something happen to like spark that, or were you just kind of slowly moving towards that? Did you grow up with that kind of spiritual belief around you?
I was the only one that was different in my family.
Of course. Did they think you were crazy?
Probably, yeah.
Were they just like letting you go when you were a small child, and then as you got older they thought it was more serious, or they just kind of let you, because when you were a child, you sort of play around with magic and everyone thinks that it's fine, and then when you sort of continue to do that into adulthood,
I think because I've made a career out of it, they kind of just accept it that I'm into this stuff and that they're not. They never kind of actually said I was crazy, but they probably thought it.
Do you think they're believers now that you work in it, or they still just think, oh, she's off doing her thing?
She's off doing her thing. Yeah, they definitely don't believe.
Right. So did it change the way that you kind of lived your life, realizing that you had this like spiritual gift and that you were moving more into a spiritual
Absolutely.
space?
Because it's ultimately landed me having my own crystal shop, and this is my whole career. My whole world is healing and energy healings and crystals, and so I guess I could have stayed in the mainstream being a secretary or doing that sort of work, but it's definitely shaped who I am from this passion and interest that I have for this realm.
Did you find that because you're kind of working with other people's energy that you had to start putting in daily practices to be able to sort of protect yourself from the other side of that?
Definitely, because otherwise I find like I'm drained all the time. So definitely doing like little protection things and wearing crystals to deflect unwanted energies and stuff like that, and put crystals in the room or the house or stuff like that always helps.
Yeah. Have you had any spooky or interestingly scary kind of moments realizing your magic?
I've like had interactions with spirit, and waking me up at like 3 a.m., someone sitting on the bed and there's not actually someone sitting on the bed, things like that. I can't think of anything like whilst doing my healing work. When my son was little, there was a portal in our house that we lived in, so that he seemed to somehow bring.
He opened a portal in your house.
Yes.
How do you stop a child from opening a portal in your house?
It was a very difficult thing, and I always had to get this medium to come in and close it probably once every few months.
What was in this portal that you had to keep closing?
He would describe them as long, tall people.
You just had long, tall people standing behind a portal.
Yes.
I saw a video the other day that talked about this whole idea, so this is blowing my mind. This concept that when portals open, the first thing standing on the other side of it is the most powerful being in wherever that is, in whatever space that is in time, that the person standing there is the most powerful being that exists because they're the one who wants to get through.
Okay.
Do you feel like that's true?
Yes, I do. Yes.
And did you sense that it was like a bad energy?
I felt like it was way too much for him to handle, and obviously it kept opening in his bedroom. And then if we closed that portal, it would open in the room downstairs, and you'd walk into the room and it'd be like ice cold. I would always know once it was back open again. And I couldn't see anything or see them myself, but he would always. And the medium actually told me that he's just got this beacon of light, and he subconsciously would be drawing them in for one reason or another.
Does he accidentally open portals now in his adult life?
No, he completely shut it all down. He was just like, that's way too scary. I never want to deal with that again. So I do remember a few years after it stopped happening, and then a few years later he said, I think I'm ready to get back in touch with that. And within half an hour he came running out of his room and said, no, I'm not, it's too scary. And we had to close the portal. It literally, I just don't know how he did it.
Had you sensed that energy in him when he was growing up?
I always just knew he was like an old soul. That's the only energy. He was just like a little old man from a very young age. He was just this old soul. So I never really sensed,
Do you feel like there was a subconscious reason that he was opening the portal, or it was just accidental energy?
I think it was accidental, yeah.
Just kids mucking around.
Because he had like an imaginary friend and things like that.
Right.
So.
Oh, he had an imaginary friend. Do you think that was a spiritual friend, or do you think that was just a made up?
I think it was spiritual, because he called it his great grandmother. Oh my God. And he would tell me stories about her and whatnot. Yeah.
Did you ever find him talking to spirits?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of parents would be like, oh, something's going wrong here.
No.
But you just accepted it.
I was aware of it. And I had friends that were mediums and psychics and stuff like that. So they would always fill me in with what was going on, why it was happening. So I felt lucky in that way that I kind of had the support network around me. But I would never talk to family or friends, like other friends, about it, because they would think I'm a bit cuckoo. So, yeah.
I think we're kind of in the energy where you should be talking to everybody about it, because we are supposed to be moving into leaning into our weirdness.
Yes.
Do you think that your son will ever kind of come back to it, or do you think he's been scared too many times?
I think he's been scared too many times.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
Do you feel it around him, or has he completely closed it off?
He's completely closed it off. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I think people have a lot of different beliefs in what it is to work with energy and what it is to see spirits and experience kind of that other side. And I have talked a little bit about sort of the difference between a spiritual awakening and a psychic awakening, and those two things, one being sort of puts you more in touch with yourself, and one sort of puts you more in touch with things that are not of this place.
Yep.
And I just want to get your thoughts on the idea of, people who haven't had a spiritual awakening, who haven't really found a way to ground into a physical experience, trying to move into a psychic awakening and trying to kind of work with energies when they're already ungrounded here. What would be something that you would tell somebody who was trying to do that?
I guess knowledge is a wonderful thing, reading or learning from other people that are experienced in it, coming to, what you and I both do, me with the healing work and you with your astrological counselling and stuff like that, just so that they can understand it more from different aspects and different points of view. And Yeah, I guess that would be the main thing for me, is just like get as much knowledge as you can. And everyone's got their own little superpower. They've got to, test and try different
Yeah.
things to see what their superpower would be.
So maybe if you could just tell us a little bit about what you could expect if you came to have a Reiki session with you.
Yep. So I channel the Reiki through, and so it just feels like warm heat coming out of my hands. I would see where the imbalances are in your body. I would check all the energy centers, the chakras in the body. I'd clear and cleanse all of those. I use crystals, I use pendulum, I use selenite to clear the aura and things like that. And then I close off with a nice sound healing, because the vibration of sound really does clear and cleanse your energy as well. People walk away just feeling lighter. They just feel like the weight of the world's been lifted off their shoulders. Just clearer thinking. It's really good for the emotional aspect. Like, you can go to chiro or massage for the physical ailments in your body, but this is amazing at any emotional baggage, which we've all got, just to help clear and cleanse it away. Old traumas that, remain in your cellular memory, it really does clear out and cleanse a lot of that as well.
So you're not removing spirits from people's bodies.
I can do that as well.
You can do that as well.
Yes.
What is the difference? What is the difference? And do you discover that when you're doing it, or do they people tell you?
Some people are aware of it and they might tell me, but usually when I'm tapping in, like tuning into the person, I might feel that there's an unwanted energy, and it just feels just something off. Yeah, it's hard to describe what it feels like.
So when you remove that, where do you put it? Because in Ghostbusters, they put it in a little box so that it's safe.
Well, I have a similar thing. I have a bowl of salt. So I kind of have to remove it. And, salt's a really magical thing.
Yeah, right.
At absorbing negative energies and stuff. So I have a couple of bowls of salt in the healing room, and or I send it back to the light.
And you do Reiki for pets as well.
Yes.
How is that different to a person?
It's so different. So an animal will definitely, they'll either come and just say it was a cat, it would lay on my lap and I'll be doing the Reiki. They know when they've had enough, and they'll just get up, jump off and walk away. And then the next time I meet them, they're like, oh my God, that was that lady that did that wonderful thing. I mean, they'll come running over and they'll just be like, come on, I need more sort of thing. They absorb it really, really quickly. They don't need as much as what a human would need. And yeah, a lot of the time you can just see, like, they'll be purring, they'll just absolutely love it. Or even a dog. I've done dogs before as well. I've done horses.
Is there a difference in the animals, like the energy in them?
Horses, definitely. Dogs and cats, not really. They're quite similar.
What's the difference in a horse?
It's maybe a more intelligent species. I'm not really sure what it is, but they seem to have more of a awareness or something. It's hard to describe.
Well, I always say I think horses are bad people. Is that true?
Maybe. I'm not really sure.
Right. So when someone needs pet Reiki,
Yes.
like how would they know that? Like, are they sensing something, they think something's wrong?
It could be just a frail old animal, or you could just be spiritual and be like, oh my God, Reiki's amazing. Yeah, why wouldn't I want to give my cat or my dog pet Reiki? It can be just a knowing. Yeah, it's something you might just want to try. It's a hard one to sort of like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And do you see pets a lot? Do you get a lot of pets?
I actually used to do a lot more pet Reiki.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of putting a little sign on the door here saying pet Reiki available.
That's great. There's so many dogs in this street.
Yeah.
You really should.
And honestly, dogs pull their owners into the store all the time. It's like, maybe that's a sign. That's what I need to be doing.
I mean, people say they just wander up and down the streets here and they end up here.
Yeah.
So animals obviously are doing the same thing.
Yeah, they're pulling their owners in.
Have you ever been doing Reiki on a pet and found a bad spirit?
No.
That's interesting.
No.
Only the humans carry bad spirits. If you had to explain to people what you thought a ghost was, how would you explain that?
I think a ghost is the soul of a past one that's either got unfinished business or is kind of stuck in limbo.
Do you think they can find their own way out, or do you think they need help?
I think if it's unfinished business, they can find their own way out once they've finished the business or whatever. Whether or not that's just watching as a ghost, seeing that, something's getting resolved between a family or something. I don't know. It's a really tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just think it's a soul, because we've had a ghost up here. We can hear her walking up and down and stuff. And like a medium said to me, it's just a harmless ghost. She doesn't need going anywhere. So
She just likes it here.
she just likes it here.
So have you ever had animal ghosts? Do you think that's a thing?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And what's the difference? What are the animal ghosts stuck here for? Have they got unfinished business?
I don't know. I wonder if it might be a comfort thing, just to reassure their
that's really
owner.
interesting. So do we need to get rid of all of the ghosts, or we're leaving this old lady up here? She's fine.
Yeah. I'm not a ghost hunter, or a ghostbuster.
I mean, we'll have to
really
get a ghost hunter in. Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Get a ghost hunter in. And yeah, I guess my final question is, because people ask it to me a lot when I tell them that I'm on a spiritual journey, is do you feel like the world is more heading towards their own spiritual journey than they ever have been before?
I do. I think there just seems to be so many more people curious, so many more people realise that there is something else out there than just black and white, the mundane, normal muggle life. I think that people are definitely discovering more and more that there's more to life than that.
Do you think something triggered that for the collective? Because obviously, I think a lot of the people that I talk to who have been doing spiritual things for a while, it sort of came up when they were children. And so a lot of the people that I experience these days that have just started their journey are adults. And do you think there was something collective that triggered that? Or do you think everyone sort of has collectively...
I've heard it's to do with the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
So going from the dark to the light. So more people are going to wake up. Yeah.
Doing astrology, you can see that in people's birth charts. You can see this transition of time of where the planets were, and in particular where Aquarius is in people's charts, and the awakening of that in people's charts now, because where those major planets were when they were in Aquarius when people were born were in the 90s, and so those people now are really being called and really being awakened in more than one spot. Everyone will have an Aquarius energy somewhere in their chart, and even if you don't have it exactly there are other underlying energies, but these people that were born in the 90s have really got at least 2 or 3 different placements that are being kind of opened up now. And I experienced that doing astrology, that's the sort of people that I find sitting across from me that I find unexpected.
Yes.
Like, why would you be sitting here? You don't seem like somebody who would be on a spiritual journey. And then I can see it in their birth chart, how it's been like triggered by Pluto moving into Aquarius. So that's very interesting.
Very interesting. I love that.
Yeah. And is there any sort of magical person that you haven't spoken to who you think I should try and talk to?
Yes, straight away. And when we were talking earlier, I was thinking about that. My Ghostbuster friend in WA.
Yes.
If you could do like a split video call with her.
Yes. I mean, we have to talk to a Ghostbuster.
She has amazing stories, and she is well renowned, a really good Ghostbuster in WA. So
I love that.
her name is
What does she call herself? Does she call herself
Shah Magic?
Shah Magic.
Is it? Yeah.
And
Shah Magic.
what is her? I mean, she's not a Ghostbuster. I mean, she is.
Shah Luna. Sorry.
Shah Luna. And what does she call her skill? Ghostbusting.
Yeah, I think. I think it's just like house clearing.
Yeah, right.
I'll have to look on her social media. She's been doing it so long that I've forgotten what she does call herself. But she is a Ghostbuster.
I will definitely talk to a Ghostbuster.
I think that would be great.
Yeah. Thanks for chatting with me today,
Pleasure.
Jen.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that chat with Jen. She is a very interesting human being, very magical indeed. Now, Jen, as I said at the start, is the co-owner of Oracle of Crystals in Malvern, which is also where she does her healings from. Her details will be in the description below if you would like to come in and meet Jen and have a healing with her. Also, be sure to add Oracle of Crystals on your Instagram and your TikTok, because they have some very exciting spiritual and witchy things planned for the future that you are not going to want to miss out on. So thank you again for joining me, and thank you to Jen, and thank you to Jen especially for allowing me access to the upstairs of her shop. Now, don't forget, we live in a meaningless world, and it is up to us to decide what that meaning is. So decide that it is for a positive reason, not a negative one. Never be afraid to walk into your shadow. We are all being asked to begin a brand new journey moving forward after this Pisces eclipse that we just had on the 18th. So enjoy that spiritual journey. And as always, stay weird.